Hey guys, I'm playing today my second game against Beery here, 1753. He's a good player. We played a game just now. Just playing a little modern defense. Yes, that's me. Okay, so he knows I'm recording this today, which is good. I think he looks to improve his game. He's got quite a high rating, and I'm taking that into consideration when I play the game. I think it all has relevance as well when you're looking at players' ratings. That you don't think that if somebody's rated 1300 and they've been as high as 1900 and they've been consistently there for a long time, either they're dropping their rating on purpose or they're just going through a really bad patch. So okay, we're playing this. He's blunting the bishop that I've opened straight away. So I'm going to play. He's got the sort of dark squares. He's got a lot of dark square control, as they call it, which is these squares here are all looked after by these pawns, and it blunts this bishop. This bishop is looking really a granite wall, and especially if he gets this in as well, my bishop's going to look terrible. So we're going to start off by playing this. It's all part of an opening. Again, we're not going to go too much into this right now. I don't want to confuse a lot of people with it because I think a lot of emphasis these days is put on opening theory and modern lines, and I think up to about sort of 1900 online, I think you can get away quite handily without really knowing any opening theory, or very little at least. You need to ideally watch out for traps though. Let's have a look. So he's trying to gain light square control now with this as well. So his bishop wants to sort of take control of all these light squares. His pawn is taking control of the dark squares, and this bishop. So his position looks pretty good. So very soon I'm going to want to hit out at this and stop him from from making all his plans. In fact, I might just go straight to that. Let's go straight to it. Okay. So we'll just have a little look. He's just looking at my channel on YouTube, which should be good. He'll be probably one of my first subscribers or first people to watch the videos. One of. Okay, so he's developing normally. This is okay. Bring my bishop out now as well. Put a little bit of pressure on this knight, sort of pin into the queen. Excuse me. Yeah, he defends. That's fine. Okay, so I'm not too happy about this pawn chain here. I want to get this bishop a little better, so I'm gonna take here. He should take back with the pawn. If he takes with the knight, obviously I'm winning the queen here, and I highly doubt he'll play that. So pawn takes pawn is what we're looking at. So he doesn't take back at all. Right, so now I've got the option of actually winning a pawn by playing bishop takes knight. I'd have thought he'd take back with a knight. He could take back with the queen though. I think the queen might be even slightly stronger, and I can possibly take on here. Because remember, I've already got one pawn, so it's that case of do I want to win more material, or would it worsen my position as well? That's the other thing. Well, let's have a look. If bishop takes and then queen takes pawn, let's say pawn takes pawn, then that pawn there is isolated. So let's just go through that again. Bishop takes knight, queen takes pawn, pawn takes pawn, bishop takes pawn, and he's got nothing there to defend it. And then we're actually on the rook as well, so he has to move the rook at the end, which will go here, and it'll be pointing towards this pawn. So if you look, there's quite a lot going on there. There's quite a lot of moves ahead, to see, I guess. But it's all very logical and all makes a lot of sense. So let's have a quick think again about this. Yeah, I think this is good. So bishop takes. Knight takes. Okay. So I think the queen would have been better taken for development, because we still get the same idea here. Pawn takes pawn. And now he can't really recapture the pawn, because bishop takes his check, and I'm winning the rook. Aha. So this is an intermediate move. I didn't actually calculate this. So I'm going to have a look at this. I mean, he's got ideas here. This is true. He does have ideas on this pawn. But I've got a lot of threats here too, so what are my candidate moves? If he's going to take this pawn, he's on a lot of stuff down here. So I'm possibly going to think of just pushing the pawn up. The other thing as well is I need to develop a piece. Maybe I can give a pawn back here. Let's have a look. So if I just develop my knight, maybe knight d7. I mean, if I go to knight to c6, that just looks terrible. After he takes here, he's on the knight. So I'm going to play knight d7, give that pawn back, and then I might get this b file for my rook. Because then if you look, this pawn will be attacking there, supported by the bishop and supported by the rook. So I think that's how I'm going to play at the moment. It is true I'll be giving the a pawn up as well, but I think he doesn't want to keep taking these pawns yet. He has got the bishop pair, that is true, so sometimes, like I mentioned in my last video, it's good to take a lot of pawns and open the board up at least. So, and a sec, so I think I won. Okay, so let's see. That move was better. I don't know. Do me if you guys me. So yeah, so I played my knight out. He hasn't initially taken the pawn here, so it does give me a chance to play b6. But the thing is, if I play b6 as well, I'm limiting the scope of this queen also. So maybe I can just block it altogether by playing knight b6. Is that so terrible? Maybe knight here and get the bishop pair back. Oh, that's quite nice actually, isn't it? Knight c5. I'm on the bishop and the queen, so queen can't take the pawn obviously because it's protected by the bishop. And the knight then will look pretty menacing around here, I think, won't it? Because then we've got a lot of stuff on there again, especially if he takes on b2, so on b8, sorry, b7. So yeah, we're going for this straight away. I don't see. Yeah, no worries. Always up for helping people with chess. If I can. Yeah, so what's his plan here now? What is he doing with his pieces? Where's his dark square bishop best placed? Probably on e3. It's probably the longest, sort of the most active diagonal. Yes, he has that move. But queen up and swap off, and I'm still a pawn up, right? So the other thing I was thinking as well, I see a lot of people do this. Yes, now this does work. If I play knight takes bishop, queen takes, I can't take that pawn with the bishop. However, if I don't do that, maybe I play just bishop takes now, I'm on the rook. Then he'll play rook over and he's doubling up on this, but it's protected by the knight for the mo. Okay, so let's just go over that slowly. Bishop takes, rook over. He's got two attackers now, the rook and the queen on b7. I have a knight defending it, so what has he got to do? trade it off. So he's just going to possibly bring that bishop to e3, swap the knight off, and then all of a sudden b7 is dropping. So it's a very good idea, this, actually. So I think I'm going to... Well, it's a pawn for me. I've still got these lovely dark squares as well. Oh, excuse me, phone's going off there a moment. So let's have a look. After he goes rook b1. Oh, I see. So, okay, well, I'm going to bring my king up. If the queens are off the board as well, this is another consideration you guys have to look at. Once the queens come off, yes. King c7 now, though. Right, and the reason why I'm playing... so I'll just go over the theory quickly as to why I'm doing this. Once the queens are off, I mean, he has got quite a few pieces on the board, so we both have, though, in fairness. But the queen's the one that Jerry tends to jump around, check, and then give checkmate, especially in middle game. However, once they've come off, the king will be better placed towards the centre. I notice I have a weakness here as well, on b7. So I want to protect that, which is why I'm moving the king over this way. I might even get to sort of almost manual castle over here at some point. But let's have a look. Let's see what he does. Probably rook b1 is his best, I would have thought, because I mean the rook's on. If he does that, I don't have to move away so much now, because again I'm not so scared about queens coming check and then picking bishops up and all that stuff. So maybe just knight f6, just finish my development. Because remember, this pawn also is under attack. He doesn't mind about that. Now the problem is here, he might be walking into something here, and I'm going to show you, because you start recognizing these patterns after some time. Knight takes pawn, bishop takes bishop, knight takes bishop, and I'm forking the bishop and rook. So it's, you know, everything seems to be coming in my favor there a little. Just trying to think if there's another way. I think I'm going to go with that for the moment. So knight takes, and if bishop takes, then knight takes again, forking these two. Rook's got to move. He has to stay on this file as well, because otherwise he'll be losing the piece for nothing. Probably should take that off for the mo. Because what else am I threatening? Well, I'm threatening to go knight here. But unfortunately he has a knight on f3 that'll sort that out. I see. He's making a lot of moves I didn't expect, truthfully. Let's have a look. So bishop takes bishop, then the rook is defending here. So what about... Ah, yes. Oh, no, okay. Yeah, I was thinking bishop takes bishop, rook takes, and then I was thinking, oh yeah, but knight here, not realising, you know, thinking to fork the rooks. But unfortunately he's got a bishop there, and I'm also pinned. So I can't actually do any of that stuff. So yeah, I mean, you know, it's... Let's have a look. I'm not just going to rush into it quickly. Bishop takes is probably good anyway. It gets... I mean, I've got a dark square weakness here otherwise, you know, if I'm moving this bishop away, and I don't want my rooks dropping off yet. I'm ahead quite a lot in material. He has got the bishop pair, so just to get the bishop pair off, I think this is good for a move. And now I think what I'll do is I'll solidify everything, and what I mean by that is I'm going to try and keep all my pieces very well protected, so there's no real way he can get through with these rooks and that bishop. That's my general strategy here. Also, if I can get this bishop off the diagonal, if I can sacrifice something, I might be able to get a fork with the rooks here. So I mean, if I can give material up, maybe something like... I don't know, what could I do? It all depends where he plays this bishop. Yes. That's quite a good move also. But I think d5, because I mean, what he's trying to do here now is he's trying to jump in here with either the knight or the bishop, and it's all protected, and so he's got some good ideas here. But I think maybe how to play. Maybe I'll just go here for the minute. Now he's dropped this, possibly. No, because again I'm forked, aren't I? Yes, and now he's really threatening to take that knight. So we'll go back knight f6, but now we might be able to jump here, protected by this pawn. He hasn't got the dark square bishop, remember, so I don't have to worry about diagonals now. But I don't like staying in this pin, though. I don't like being pinned by this rook, because all the tactics seem to be happening around here, if you get what I mean. If a knight gets here, I get to fork the rooks. So if I can make some sort of move that will, you know, I mean, if I just move the king over, I mean, it gets me out of that, but he may well just move one of the rooks away, and he's good to go. So the idea, that's another thing in chess, is trying to hide your attacks and hide your ideas. Maybe e5? Yeah, so I'm just asking this knight where he's going first. Let's have a look. Maybe knight check? I'm quite happy with that. This is what I mean with hiding your attacks. Basically, if I just move the king, he'll probably just move the rook. If he goes knight check, he's forcing me to move the king, so it looks like probably just quite a natural move to move this king over. But then I'm possibly forgetting the whole reason when I move my king is to stop me forking the rooks here. And I think that, you know, this sort of psychology is quite a... Here we go. So if I just go, I don't know, I'm not dropping any more tactics here, am I? No, I think I'm just going to go here. So I can keep on holding this pawn as well. So my opponent, well, some opponents a lot of the time will think, okay, so he's just moved over to look after that. He was in check anyway, so we'll just forget about the whole idea of me moving my rooks anyway. And then I'll get winning a piece and with a fork. So, but we'll see. I'm not sure. Longer time after this. Yes, sure. Okay, so again, this is what I mean. He does have this. The other thing as well, though, if I take here, he does have rook check, supported by the knight. How dangerous that is right now, I'm not sure. It's quite hard to calculate in such a little time as well. But I think I can probably just go king to e6. I look after this, and all's well. At least I'm going for it anyway. So at least it's a piece. I've won a piece here. He is threatening to win one back. Yeah, so king here. I mean, if he plays pawn takes, then I'll take his rook here. So he probably has to move the rook. Let's see what he does. He moves there. I've always looked for tactics here as well. Don't see much at the moment. Maybe this hits his rook, so it gains a tempi. So he's almost gaining a tempi on this knight, but I've now moved my knight to safety, and I'm attacking the rook. So if you can move your piece with an attack on a higher piece from right, I was mentioning in a previous video, it's what they call a tempi or a tempo that you'll be gaining on your opponent, because really he has to move this. He doesn't want to give up the rook. So I suppose, I mean, you know, rook takes knight, knight takes rook, knight takes, and he's forking the king and rook here. So just again to recap that, if he plays rook takes knight, knight takes rook, he hasn't gone for that. So I think now maybe I'm clearly up a piece. So that might have been one tactic he missed there, actually. But it's always good to watch for these things. Can I just play e4? I mean, this is a little cheeky, just supporting the knight there when he was attacking, obviously for free. But we do have to play in this way a lot of the time. So you know, as chess players, we've got to have a little look at these things. It puts pressure on it. It gives him a bit of a problem, you know, to work against. I mean, if he plays here though, knight here and check, and yeah, so we have to look at everything really. But again, I've only got 3 minutes, so yes. King here. I'm getting closer to the centre. This is a little worrying. But I can't see a way he can easily attack it. Again, the bishops have gone. So imagine now if you were white and you had the dark square bishop, you can see for yourself that these dark squares here are very, very, very weak. And you know, if you can get your bishop onto that kind of diagonal, that is obviously going to be good for you. So these are things, you know, like a lot of people, once the pieces come off, they don't really talk about them anymore. And I think there's a lot of relevance to have a look at positions where maybe a bishop would be monstrously good. And not just for the fact that it says check and you win a rook, not for that. It's for the fact that whole diagonal there is where... right, he spotted it. He has spotted the tactic, so... nice. So he spotted taking here. And if king takes back, knight check. Okay, but I'll be up a piece at the end of this anyway. So remember, I've won a piece off him anyway, so he should go knight check there, and I'll just take back. And then we've got a knight and a rook against a rook. So yes, that's true. But it was a nice find. So he found that. He missed it the first time round, but he did see it the second time round. Okay. So like I say, I haven't got a huge amount of time, but there are always things to look for with that. Maybe I can just go... rook c8. I mean, you want to gain an open file. My knight here is protected, so I'm going rook c8 first. With a threat to go maybe rook c1. Let's have a look. Yeah, rook c1. I'm trying to come over this way now. And he wants to swap off here, okay. And then we're picking all these pawns up here. In fact, we're picking all three up. So check. So we win this one, and then we're winning this one. And then we'll push up here. And again. This really doesn't apply, but I'll mention it. The two or double, I'm not sure exactly how this is said anymore, but it's the crux really of two weaknesses. If you can get sort of, you know, things happening on the king side and things happening on the queen side, then it's hard then for the king and his few minor pieces to defend all of it, you know. So these are things. Once he stops one, we're going to promote the other. So this is the idea of the two weaknesses as well. And this comes quite strong in endgame. I mean, obviously here it's not really relevant because he only has a king anyway. We just want to make sure we can't stalemate him, like I'm probably about to. Am I about to stalemate him? Possibly. So we'll get changed to a knight. Yeah, because the knight protects that square there. Almost stalemate. So if I go here, he's going to have to move this way. So king over. If I go up though, we could be looking at checkmate soon. Just to make sure I don't stalemate him here. So I'll keep him out by playing this move. he's going to have to move there. And then we get a queen with check. Yeah, and if he wants to take my piece, that's good for me, because it'll keep him on the back row. There we go. He only has one move. I can pre-move that, checkmate. So, good game. I'll upload this now. Okay, so that was that game, guys. Let's have a look. Yeah, so I broke up the center early on. How do I get rid of that? Just a note. Yeah, so I broke up the center instantly by playing this c5. I'll put pressure on it at least. Bishop out, and I take, and he's given me the option here. When he makes this little intermediate move, it's good because it gives him the bishop pair, but I win a pawn in the process. I wasn't too worried about b8. Yeah, this is fine. Yeah, this is what I was trying to get into here. If queen takes queen and knight takes, which I see a lot of players play, and I think I probably used to do that a lot myself. In fact, I'm more than sure I do that now as well. I totally forget the fact that once the queens are off, it makes it a little easier for this king to move around and not think about getting checkmated so easily in the middle game. So once the queens come off, the king is better placed near the centre. Ideally, when you want to swap a few more pieces off before he comes out of his shell. But just to get him over there, I mean, I'm going to be a lot quicker up the board than his king will be. So it's better to take with the king than to take the knight and have to move the knight back. And in fact, if you look at it, if knight takes, he's got bishop here pinning the knight as well. So he's going to have pressure on me again. I don't really want all that to happen. I'd rather have my knight, which is nicely placed there anyway. It's supported by a pawn. So I'd rather keep that like it is. So yeah, this stuff I kind of pretty much commentated all of it. I mean, if you do have any more comments or questions, please do put them on YouTube. This is something very good by him as well, rook c1, pinning, always pinning to the king. I didn't have a nice way to get out of it until he said check with the knight, which is coming up in a moment. There we go, so now he's forcing me to move. And I think, this is a point where some people may forget that they're actually hanging a fork for themselves. They're losing tactics. So yeah, instantly, yeah, maybe he should have played that earlier, but that's fine. Check. So he's down a piece, and it was pretty much nice from here. Again, if you notice, everything kind of fell into place for me once those rooks came off. I got a check. That's one pawn. That's there. That's another pawn, and then I've got the third one because it can't move forward. But apart from that, I played a good game. Just check and see if he's still here. And I'll just go and try and upload this now. But yeah, so there you go. That's that. Please subscribe. Any comments or questions, please put on the bottom, and I'll see you soon.